Episode 2 of Pace and Space is officially on deck. We want to thank everyone who tuned in to episode 1, all 168 of you. Don't worry, as time goes along, that number will increase as we tweak, we build, and we adjust. For all the people who've pulled up from the Rap Roundtable, y'all know the vibe. Y'all know we always tweaking things, we always adjusting things, and we build it out, and we listen to the people, we listen to the feedback. And you know what? I was waiting for some negative feedback, but everybody who did tune in loved episode 1. We appreciate y'all. And of course, as you pull in, run the like button. As soon as you press play, hit that like button. It's easy. Comments, get us in the algorithm more. Subscribe, please. You know what I mean? Do the necessary. Those little pieces of business increases our business. We trying to get this to 1,000 subs as soon as possible. Last time I checked, we are already at 60. Shout out to everybody again who's hit that subscribe. And again, if you love rap and you're pulling in for the NBA, but you just happen to love your rap music and the NBA, tune into the Rap Roundtable. That's myself and Mason show with our two brothers, Dini and Sincere the Rap Snob. We have Quartet over there. Best rap show on the East Coast. Make sure you get familiar with that. But I know you're here for the hoops talk. Macito, what's the word, man?
Yeah, man, I'm chilling, job, regular day, ready for episode 2. Just like you said, much appreciated. Everybody showed a lot of love on episode 1. Y'all ran the subs up. Y'all showed us some love, man. So we want to continue the winning streak. You feel me?
Absolutely. And again, hit that like button. We need anywhere between 50 and 100 likes on every video until we can get to a certain level of subscriber base. And then we'll ask for that number to increase. But for now, between 50 and 100 likes, press play, hit like. Shit. You know what I mean? Press like, then press play. Whichever rotation you want to do, just make sure you're hitting that like button. And you know what? I gotta work on cursing. We kind of foul and vigorous on the Rap Roundtable, but on Pace and Space, we're trying to run a PG show. So I gotta contain myself. Pause, Mace. But anyway, enough of the pleasantries. They're not here. If you clicked on this, you're not here to hear from us about us. You're here to hear about this guy, the Kang, potentially using steroids. So the rumor and innuendo is, starting about almost like a little over a year ago, Chael Sonnen was on a podcast. Former UFC mixed martial artist Chael Sonnen said that himself and LeBron James have the same juice guy, right?
Right.
Then on Paul Pierce's show alongside The Ticket, Paul Pierce suggested it. KG tripled down saying that LeBron is on the new juice. Redacted said that the juice is the key to LeBron James's longevity, Mace. If you don't know who Redacted is, go Google it. We ain't saying his name. You know what I mean? But just Google the phrase, the key to LeBron James's longevity is steroids, and his name will pop up. So, Mace, you hear these people putting these things in the atmosphere. We know you're an avid researcher. You're the type of guy that goes to dig. What do you think about these LeBron James steroid allegations?
Well, Jav, you mentioned that these aren't new, and you mentioned the Chael Sonnen thing, but these have been going on for years, Jav. You mentioned, I think a lot of people, when they heard KG say it, they were like, all right, hold on. Like,
right.
That's a competitor. That's somebody that is called LeBron the GOAT. You know what I mean? But Jav, you go back to 2014. Let's start there, okay? Let's go to 2014. The infamous year where the NBA announced in the offseason they would be testing for steroids. Among that season, LeBron loses massive amounts of weight. He's the skinniest he's ever been since like his rookie year. If you remember that year, that's when LeBron, he lost the weight. He had the back problems, and he took the mid-season trip to Miami. Let's not forget that. First year back in Cleveland, that mid-season Miami trip, you know what I mean? When he was looking less athletic than ever, he came back and he was back to, one-hand alley-oops off the backboard. You know what I mean? Let's talk about, back in 2023, last year, the biogenesis thing that came out, where they found out that Ernest Mims, business manager of LeBron James, had ties to biogenesis and that steroid scandal, a scandal that got 21 MLB players suspended, by the way. You know what I mean? Listen, what about the growth removed? You remember that? The 2009 offseason when the random growth in LeBron's jaw was removed? Pause. But do you remember that?
Whoa. I don't remember that. Talk to me about that, Mace.
that was the whole thing where it was the 2009 offseason, LeBron's first MVP season. He supposedly had some sort of growth in his jaw. They said, you know, in off-season surgery, right before the 2009-2010 season, he had surgery to get it removed. This was the check my stats off-season, that off-season. So listen, if there's enough bank robberies, I feel like the FBI is gonna, you know, investigate me if I got a bunch of cash for bank robberies. The NBA is clearly not the FBI, you know what I mean? Because often where there's this much smoke, there's fire, you know what I mean? Listen, people love to talk about the 21 years, y'all, you know what I mean? People love to talk about it, but how do you feel? You know what I mean? Do you feel this longevity is because he's doing his thing, or like I presented the proof?
You know, that the growth in his jaw, that's pause, that's nasty work. But 2014 is a thing that I think a lot of people sweep under the rug. Granted, his feats on the court, epic, legendary. You and I have had our own debates about LeBron, with you know, kind of coming around to the king being one of the, if not the GOAT. I don't think you consider him the GOAT, but you've gotten to a place now where you won't like scoff if someone says LeBron is the GOAT, and I commend you for showing that type of growth. I'm still a little immature with that topic, but I digress. 2014 is very loud because they did announce said changes to the bylaws, and he did deflate. And it's like, for a player of his stature to deflate, that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about nothing else. Not injuries, not nothing else. Juiced up, shoulders popping out the jersey. Remember, he used to rock his jersey super tight in Miami too, to looking like rookie LeBron, and the hairline was already gone. He looked like he aged like 5 years in one off season. So all of a sudden, the unexplained trip to Miami, these are things that constantly get swept under the rug. And it begs the question again, if I'm a skepticist, Mason, and I'm looking at the situation on his head, and the fact that people are very comfortable saying these things, where there's smoke, there has to be fire. Because where I'm from, if someone says, yo, Jarv is doing steroids, and they don't have proof, and I'm a person of interest, I'm a person of prominence, I'm suing you. LeBron James has been mum about this. And this is all world levels of smut. In 2014, that trip to Miami tells me that he had to go and hit up his guy. He had to go to the lab. He had to go to the back to tank, word to Star Wars. He had to go to the little tank of Dragon Ball where Goku was waiting to fight Frieza and shit. And he had to go get his juice. He had to go get his juice. And that's what it's telling me. Maybe I'm wrong. Because again, it's like it's difficult for me to say these things because I'm the quote LeBron hater, but it's like it's a preponderance of evidence that says LeBron James is on the juice, Mace. Like how come LeBron ain't saying that? Let me know. Maybe you can explain that to me.
And it's crazy because you only kind of hear this from like on the fringe kind of like people, right? You don't hear like the Stephen A's talk about this. I've heard Bill Simmons, you know, our podcast inspiration once upon. He used to bring up the German blood spinning about Kobe all the time. Kobe's done it. Duncan's done it. I think Donovan Mitchell is even doing it right now. He used to kind of allude to Kobe doing something way back in the day. This is like 2012, 2013. And it's like all of this evidence is here with LeBron. This guy is 21 years in. And it's like everybody is just, it's like mum's the word. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, listen, when you have it, and the thing is, I don't even want to act like it's just strictly a LeBron problem. The NBA might have to investigate everything. You got guys coming back from ACLs, from MCLs. Remember the dreaded microfracture surgery? That used to kill your career. You got guys coming back from that now. So it's like a lot of it has to be looked into. And LeBron, with the guy who spends $1 million on his body, where's that million being spent? I always wondered, like, what do you mean by that? You know, Drewski. But listen, it's a little shady. And I feel like any responsible investigator would want to see what's going on because it's too many instances.
And you know what? That's microfracture was a career. Microfracture was the new ACL. Back when I was a kid, if you caught an ACL, you were cooked. It was over. It was ACL, Achilles, and those are the career killers. And then in the mid-aughts, you heard about the microfracture surgeries that I think it ended Allen Houston's career, if memory serves me right. And a few others, they just, once you get that, it's like your knees essentially eroding. There's no way you can regenerate your bone, and you lose your explosiveness. It's almost like hyper arthritis in a sense.
Right.
So for guys to come back from that, it's either the wonders of modern science or something else. You know, rest in peace to Kobe, but the common man could argue that if he's going to Germany to do something that's not sanctioned in America, as far as I think it's called the ADA, the American Drug Association, if I'm not mistaken, if they're not sanctioning the blood spinning, the platelet-rich plasma, I think that's what it was called, that he was getting into his knee, that means that there must be something to that for them to not say okay. But then again, I don't want to get into that, because when it comes to modern technology and modern science, a lot of times it's about the price tag. And that's above my pay grade here on Pace and Space. We're not here to get into conspiracy theories and shit like that. So, see, I done cursed again, Mace. I'm gonna have to have a cursing jaw. We not here for that. But it begs the question: what is it about these procedures that America says we don't want anything to do with that? We'll do a whole bunch of other things, but we won't do that.
Right.
It's very questionable. And I love Kobe, and I'm not saying that he was on steroids. I'm just saying the common man's within his right to question it. When it comes to LeBron James, the last question I have for you is this, Macito.
Yeah.
Is this hate? Considering the people, Chael Sonnen is a firecracker, a live wire of a personality. And we know the history with KG and Paul Pierce. Is this hate, or do they know something?
I can't say it's hate, because listen, LeBron breeds a lot of hate. Let's say that. Yeah. LeBron, right. The more, you know, as much as loved as he is, there's a lot of people trying to bring LeBron down, especially as he reaches higher milestones and passes up more people on all these lists. So LeBron is a person that breeds a lot of hate, for sure. But it's like, we can't just ignore when you know, even if it's hating, it's based in shit that happened, right? You know what I mean? Skip Bayless says LeBron played terrible in the 2011 finals. He's hating, but it's the fact, right? Come on.
It's tricky, bro. This is tricky. And you look at the entire landscape, 21 years, we haven't seen anything like this. Guys are starting to say the quiet loudly. I believe LeBron is going to have to address this, because if he just continues to avoid it, then that means it's true. If he's not legally pushing against it, then that means it's true. And if in fact it is true and something gets unleashed, or he doesn't pay off the right person, if he get that far, because again, I always say LeBron James is the star of NBA House of Cards. There's always a back channel agreement with LeBron. Even the little thing about, oh, will Laker fans ever embrace me? He's a political candidate he's working the audience at all times. To me, with all of these aspects that we know about Braun, controlling the narrative, working the audience, if it in fact comes out that he does steroids, comment section, world abroad, does this impact his legacy? That's the question. Does it put everything in question, Mace?
Listen, it would put an asterisk in the casual person's head. I think we can't, right? Of course it would, right? But the next question would be, who else? You know what I'm saying? That would be the next question. Like, who else was on it? Was he Mark McGuire competing against Sammy Sosa? You know what I mean? We never know. You know, this is something you mentioned. If this does come out, this is something that the NBA, you know, they talk about these NBA secrets. This is a secret that the NBA would implode if this came out. So I just don't would be honest with you.
Okay. I see the vision. Again, comment section, let us know. We not here to speculate. We don't have the evidence. But again, to Mace's point, with this smoke, there's fire. And LeBron not getting in front of this smoke tells me that there might be some fire down the road. But there's fire right in front of us right now, and somebody's not getting fired, and I got a problem with it. And his name is Darvin Ham. Like, the fact that Darvin Ham, with coaches getting fired mid-season, teams that are chasing a championship, like the Bucks fired their coach mid-season, yet Laker brass have decided that they need to keep good old Darv around. I don't understand why he's still here, Mace. Before we get into anything else, could you maybe let us know why they have yet to fire him? Is there some kind of science behind that?
Why they have yet to fire him, Job? Listen, I think they've just kind of, you know, they've already sold all the way in. It's like it's a weird thing going on with Lakers management. They seem like they really care, and then it seems like they kind of just waiting to get past this LeBron era. And nothing screams that more than, you know, just let Darvin Ham just, you know, keep his pockets warm the whole game. Because, listen, I don't know if does he know, you know, the cup checks? Does he, you know, is he homies with Phil? Josh, why isn't he fired? Please, what's going on?
The most I could tell you is, because we've learned, for better or worse, that the Lakers, as much as, you know, Dr. Buzz, rest in peace, did a lot to win those championships. It was win at all costs. You know, reading the book Showtime, watching the show Winning Time, we learned that the early stages of the Lakers dynasty, he kind of flew by the seat of his pants, right?
Right.
We also learned that the organization is not this high-tech modern organization that's always forward looking.
Right.
They're a high-powered mom and pop. They're a family business. And with that being said, optics matters to them more so than an organization that's all about dollars and cents. You know what I mean? Like Golden State, if Golden State was in the Lakers position, I think they would have fired multiple coaches. I think Darvin Ham would be gone, because they're very formulaic. Their algorithm will tell them, yo, this guy has to go right now. Their charts, their math, their data would say he's the problem. The Lakers are all about family, embracing you, making you feel part of them, making you feel part of the purple and gold dynasty. That firing him, they don't want to do that. They don't want to be the team that just fired another coach. They fired Vogel, right? They fired Luke Walton. Before Luke Walton, Coach Teeth, was it?
I know there was a coach in between Luke and D'Antoni.
It was Byron Scott.
Right.
Then before Byron Scott was D'Antoni. Before D'Antoni was Coach Teeth. You know what I mean? If you don't know Coach Teeth is, we're talking about Mike Brown. I forgot we have a camera on. I gotta, you know what I mean? Let y'all know the inside jokes. You know what I mean? That's 5 coaches. Nobody's been amicably released. The last, since Phil, every coach has been fired. So again, Vogel, Walton, Scott, D'Antoni, Mike Brown. So business-wise, it doesn't make sense. Because now if you fire a guy, that means you're paying him. I don't know what the situation is. I don't know if since Vogel got a job, if they're still paying him, if he's still on their books. I don't know how that works. I'd have to ask a real NBA number cruncher to answer that for me. But firing another coach, I think the only reason they haven't fired him yet is because they don't want that kind of negative energy. Makes sense.
Listen, and that makes sense, but I hate to think about optics, because the optics that I see is a team and an organization that may be going down in flames. The optics is that you can guess what's going on. You know what I mean? But listen, Darvin Ham, sometimes there's coaches with X and O's guys, right? There's team motivators. There's, you know, there's defensive coaches. There's forward-thinking coaches. Darvin Ham is just a guy on the bench that lets it happen. We've seen reports come out that LeBron literally walks away from the huddles and starts calling his own plays. We've seen all types of terrible rotations, even since the All-Star break. We've seen the terrible. D'Angelo, please let him loose. Pause. You know what I mean? Listen.
Let's get into that then. Let's get into that, because to me, you know, I don't want to shoot bail on players. Maybe the players, I have an issue with some of it. But to me, the Lakers being in the current position they're in, as far as their record and the playoff chase, yet again lingering in the play-in. Some people are saying, you know what, they're pacing themselves, and maybe that's true. Maybe they're pacing themselves for a long playoff run. LeBron is, you know, pushing 40 in year 21. I can see the vision. But for me, Darvin Ham is a direct reason. You even have some of the assistant coaches making the comments that you could say are perceived as stubs. If you don't believe me, go look it up. One of the Lakers assistants, I ain't gonna call no names because I don't want to put that on them, but you could say. But these lineup combinations, Mace, for me, and I'll pass it to you right now, but I just want to put this on the table. You cannot go up against upper tier competition, in this case, the defending champions, and then closing games out with completely crappy lineups. I was going to use another word, but then I realized I was about to curse and I said crappy. You can't have a minus player on the floor in Cam Reddish. Minus offensive player. Honestly, a minus player overall, in my opinion. Taurean Prince, to me, is a minus player offensively, maybe a minus player overall. You know? Then you have Austin Reeves, minus defensively, inconsistent in the clutch. Anthony Davis, who you don't run offense for often in the clutch. And year 21 LeBron James. That 5 is not beating the Denver Nuggets. I look at that 5 and it's like my eyes tell me that this 5 is not enough and that certain players shouldn't be on the floor. I'm not a stat guy, but Mesito, you are. There's certain people on the floor who shouldn't be on the floor statistically. Can we break that down?
Listen, like you say, it's certain people that shouldn't be statistically on the floor. The Lakers themselves, because I don't want to go past Denver specifically, y'all. Mm-hmm. Now, we've lost 8 games straight against Denver, right? Mm-hmm. For the season, I don't know if we've already played them 4 times. It might be 12 before the season is over straight. If
we've lost, I'll put it to you like this. We got swept in the conference finals, right? And then we lost the first 3 matchups this season. And in those matchups, Mace, of the 7 straight, we lost the 4th quarter 5 times. Overall, if my math serves me correctly, total in all 7 fourth quarters, the Nuggets are plus 25 against us. Darvin, to me, the 4th quarter is where the coaches make their money.
It is. And listen, we've lost 7 against Philly, so you know that's not our only losing streak against a team that might make the NBA Finals. But when it's just like you say, we consistently lose the 4th quarters. We have players like Cam Reddish, who's been a minus on off all season. A minus, guys. We talk about Taurean Prince, a minus. Jackson Hayes, minus. We have multiple players who get crunch time minutes with minus overalls. We talking on-off statistics, guys. These are the advanced statistics that they say guys like us, we don't pay attention to. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, listen, y'all, it makes sense when you have. Actually, it doesn't make sense when you have 2 players. You know how many teams wish they had players? Because we said LeBron can't carry the show, but Anthony Davis is playing at an MVP level this season. If we were a top 4 seed, Anthony Davis would be looked at in that class. And it's like when you got 2 guys playing at this level, but you're at the level we are, it has to be, you have to look further.
And then it's like, you know, I looked at the on-off numbers. Shout out to you for putting me onto that, right? And at the bottom of the Lakers on-off statistics were both Taurean Prince and Cam Reddish. And you have both guys who are negative players. Literally, I kind of teased it at the top of the segment. These both players are literal minus players. And you've decided that you want to have them play in your clutch time rotation? This is data, like, again, I don't want to steal your bars. This is the same data to you, and you were telling me this, that coaches have at their disposal. And you're choosing to roll out lineups. And if you look at the on-off statistics, D'Angelo Russell's 3rd on the team. Of course, LeBron is number 1. LeBron is the king. Of course. But you're getting cute and playing matchups with 2 minus players, bro? That doesn't add up to me. And then we get into the basketball of it all. To say you want to have Reeves on the floor, if there's a player who should be out of the Lakers clutch time rotation, but much love to his playoff performance last season, it is Austin Reeves. If you're telling me you're making defensive decisions, the player that should be off the floor is Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves' defensive IQ is arguably in the bottom 3 of the Lakers' main rotation plays. If we're talking about the entire roster, correction, bottom 3. If we're talking about the main rotation, he has the worst defensive IQs. He gambles. He's generally out of position. He's not physical at all. He doesn't take the extra step necessary to impose some type of physicality to make his opponent feel him. And he gets cooked often. And in a lot of late game situations, teams are hunting him in switches to cook him. So why are you taking D'Lo off the floor, running around with 2 minus players? In that situation with D'Angelo Russell, you had him taken out at the 7:24 mark of the 4th quarter and he didn't come back on the floor until a minute and 18 left in the game. The math ain't mathing to me, Mace. And I ain't trying to rant. I'm sorry, but I'm here now. You have, and again, when you have a minus player on the floor, it's not just about the stats. For the people who think we're stat nerds, we're eye test guys. We love the game, but sometimes the stats support what we see, and vice versa. Minus player Cam Reddish, you know what they did? Denver, that is, they put Murray defensively on Reddish, which means that he's sagging off of Murray. In fact, taking the play off because Reddish is not part of the action. He's standing there catching his breath to go cook on offense. If you have D'Angelo Russell on the floor, then you have to account for him. And if you have both Taurean Prince and Cam Reddish on the floor, that means you're sagging off of both of them because they're not threats in clutch time. So now the paint is congested and you can't run proper offense for LeBron to create and do what he does best. We just saw in the Clipper game, when you have Rui and D'Lo on the floor, you got to space that out a little bit more and we can kind of do what we want offensively. Yet you have this idiot coach doing this nonsense, and it's like, if we see it and you courtside, what are you looking for, bro?
What are you looking for? And when you talk about you talk about the Austin Reeves situation, it's like management themselves sold so hard on him before in the offseason. They put all their chips in for Austin Reeves. And it's like they did the opposite for D'Lo. So it's like I feel like we're seeing what management feels about both of them play out during the season, because at this point, D'Angelo has proven he's ready. You know what I mean? He's been waiting. He's been efficient. He's been making good decisions. He's been clutch. Things that Austin Reeves has not been. Okay, so when we bring it back to upper management and we talk about how why does Darvin Ham, why is he still here? It trickles down to decisions like playing Cam Reddish too many minutes and playing Austin Reeves too many minutes. It's like it seems like everybody's making the worst decision they possibly can on a team right now.
And here's the thing. Shout out to the homie Andres. He's a stat person. I asked him for some Cam Reddish stats because to me, like, the worst thing we did was give this kid a shot. No disrespect to him as a man, but as a Laker fan, as a basketball fan, he doesn't help us. The Lakers with Cam Reddish are ranked 17th in defense. Without Cam Reddish, ranked 22nd in defense. So we're middle of the pack with him, bad without him. To me, off the rip, that's not enough for him to warrant clutch time minutes. The shot quality opponents get with Cam on the floor is about the same. However, the 2-point percentage and 3-point percentage is better when he's on the floor. The shots are about the same. If you're looking at just the Lakers, he's one of only 4 Lakers who have a positive impact on the defensive end when he's on the floor. So you want to say, so on that level, the literature would say that Bozo Ham, we should play him. But the statistics and the X's and O's say you're checkmating yourself and you're handing W's to elite teams. That's what's losing me here. We can't stop them defensively. If you know ball and you know how Denver runs their offense, they run a lot of checkmate actions where they just make you choose who you want to beat you and you hope for the best. There was a pick and roll situation where to the naked eye it looked like Anthony Davis was in no man's land. But he didn't want to help off of Jokic because Murray would have kicked it over to Jokic for an easy dunk. Of course. But then let's say he helps on Jokic, or he helps on Jokic, all right, he being Murray could have thrown the alley over to Aaron Gordon, who's on the opposite side. So it's like it's checkmate. They have a lot of talent. They can score the ball. If I'm the Lakers and I don't have elite defense, our best defender's been hurt virtually all season. The point guard from Miami we saw at St. Vincent was supposed to alleviate some of those defensive issues. He's hardly played this year. You have to try to outscore these guys. And the only way to do that is to put Rui and D'Lo on the floor. If you want to play defense, maybe take Reeves off the floor. And then you put in Taurean Prince, not Cam Reddish, who's a better pro that is in Taurean Prince, and you try your luck, or you just play your 5-man best offensive lineup you have, and you hope for the best, and you outscore these guys. This is ridiculous, man. He has to be fired, bro.
Listen, and more numbers on Cam Reddish, a single digit per this season, BPM, negative VORP, negative win shares. He's charting terrible all across the board.
Is he one of the worst players in the league at his minutes?
at getting the type of minutes he gets in the rotation, I might have to check. He might be one of the worst players in the league. He's in the negative for most statistics. You know what I mean? And it's a player. This is the thing. I can't look at his counting stats and say, he's putting up 25, 5 and 5. He's supposed to be there as a defender, as somebody that brings energy, as somebody that can hit an open shot. So I got to look at the advanced statistics, and the guy charts terrible all across the board.
How does a guy who gets signed, he's one of the last players, if not the last player we signed during the offseason. And I don't even think he might have been in at the vet minimum. How does a guy in his position play into this type of a role? I was speaking to one of the homies, you know what I mean, off the record, because I don't want to put him on blast. And he was saying, because he's connected to the league, so I don't, you know what I mean? This is real shit. See, there you go, another curse. He said that Darvin Ham's issue is he keeps playing players who reminds him of himself as a pro, scrappy, defensive-minded players. And if that's what this situation is, and you know what, with this smoke, this fire yet again, Ham got to get up out of here. We didn't bring you here to play players that remind you of yourself, because you didn't win much as a pro, Darv. If you with the Lakers, you're here to win. And you're not a championship coach. You got to get up out of here. You stupid. All right, see, let's move on, because I'm spiraling. I'm getting overly emotional. You know what I mean? So let's
eat that.
You're absolutely right. But as the league moves on and LeBron eventually phases out, we got to think about new rivalries in the league. So the question that I have for you, for the chat, for the comment section, is Chet versus Wemby the next great player rivalry in the league? They're both in the Western Conference. They'll play 3 to 4 times a year. They're both rookies, so we know Chet has 1 more year of pure experience. They're both lanky, offensive-minded players who can defend, are willing defenders, and the potential is out of this world. Mesito, next great rivalry?
This is going to be the next great rivalry for the next few years.
Okay.
Because these guys, they're competitive. They got chips on their shoulder. They want to show that they're better than each other. Chet, we know, #1 pick from last season, wasn't able to play due to injury. The good old Blake Griffin. You know what I'm saying? Wemby, first pick this season. 2 of the same archetype, right? Guys, of the next generation of the KDs. So it's like, listen, I'm loving it right now, Job. I'm loving it right now. But I say only the next couple years, because Wemby's going to do Chet how Chris Paul did Deron Williams. Wemby is going to be on the GOAT trajectory. Wemby might already be Defensive Player of the Year. He's already making leaps and bounds that I didn't think he would make until his 3rd season, Job. I'm serious. I thought he looked like how he's looking now in year 3. You know what I mean? The brother is shooting 44% on 3-point shots in the last month or so, last 2 months. You know what I mean? Got multiple 5x5 like he's Michael Jordan. Speaking of that, isn't it crazy that Michael Jordan was doing shit in like 87? Here I go, I curse. Doing 7 that they had to send some alien from France to duplicate. Michael Jordan is insane, bro. But it's like, and he's doing this in limited minutes. Wemby is. He's on the Popovich low-key trying to tank schedule right now, because Popovich is low-key tanking this season. Don't get it messed up. So while I love Chet, you know what I mean, he's doing his thing on a team that's playing great right now. You know what I mean? The second fiddle to Shea, because listen, they playing Josh Giddey how they play Cam Reddish over in OKC. I don't know if you noticed. They're nowhere within 10 feet when he shoots a 3-point shot. So I'm impressed by Chet doing what he's doing, contributing to winning right now. I really am. And I think he's going to be a great player in the league. But this is only going to be a rivalry until Wemby really starts, you know what I mean? When he starts talking about MJ and Kobe and LeBron.
Wow, Maze. No love for the Chetster, bro?
I love for Chet, but it's a Wemby world over here, man.
You know what? I'll take it a step further. I don't think that this is KG. I'm not. See, I don't tip my hand. I don't think this is that point guard rivalry with Chris Paul and Deron Williams. I think this is KG and Timmy 2.0. Chet got a little bit more sauce about him. He's a little more of a rougher age. You know, I mean, he's of the Caucasian persuasion, but he got a little swag about him too. You know what I mean? He be around the bros. You can see. You know what I mean? You can always tell how they, what the kind of haircut they got, how they rock their little facial hair, what kind of barber he got. He one of the bros. He one of the homies. You know what I mean? Even the picture he had with KD when they was booming it during All-Star break. You know what I mean? You already know what time it is. So for me, this is KG Timmy 2.0. Yes, one is ranked higher all time. One has more rings, more finals MVPs. I don't know. I gotta look. I think does Timmy have more depoys? He might. I gotta look that up. You know what I'm saying?
Boy, Timmy never got one.
Shocking. Timmy never got depoy?
Ever. Yeah. That's crazy, right? Yeah. Most defensive all time in history.
Yes.
No players of the year, man.
Wow. For me, Victor is set up to win more. Talk about landing up. You get what I'm saying? Being a lottery pick. Being, as you put it, an alien, because he's not human. You know what I'm saying? But getting to play with the greatest NBA coach of the modern era, not named Phil Jackson, but Pop. Pop is going to teach you to play the game the right way. You're going to play defense. You're gonna learn how to play individually and within the system. And as a European player, say what you want, but as a European player, he'll be more willing to be coached than a guy who's from the States. Because you think about it, all of the guys who are not quote American who played under Pop, they stayed, they retired, they're legends in Spurs lore. The American players of the modern ilk, love you, Stack 5. You know what I mean? Like, people might not like Captain Jack, but I love me some Captain Jack. He might as well be a New York dude. Everything about him screams New York. You know what I mean?
Mess with Jack.
Kawhi Leonard, another American guy. I mean, he didn't like the situation. He left. You know, and there's a few others we can name. Although LaMarcus Aldridge did kind of he fit into the Spurs way. Fair is fair. You know what I mean? So it's not 100% foolproof. But Victor ended up in this situation. 31 minutes a night, 2010 rookie season. Basically, let's round it up. 21 and 10 on 31 minutes a night, 56% true shooting. And let's call it what it is. He's listed at 7'4", right?
That's what it's listed.
They're lying. That man got to be like 7'7" or 7'8", gang. Because I done seen him stand next to some footers. And the difference is not 4 inches.
And I seen Yao play. So I know what 7'4", 7'5" look like. He looked taller than Yao.
Come on, bro. He don't even have to jump to dunk. The dunks be like this. You know what I mean? He can't even get saucy with the dunk because he don't have to jump.
He blocking you, standing up. Just wow.
And the thing is, he's a willing defender. He's already an elite help defender. He always knows where to be. And even when he can't get to the spot, he's long enough, pause, to still contest the shot because he's 7'8". You know what I mean? Allegedly. So from that perspective, I really love what they're doing. It's like, as a Laker fan, I'm programmed to dislike the Spurs and hope for their demise constantly. I hate Pop on the basketball side. But how can you hate Victor? Victor, if you're a purist, you should love Victor. But we're not going to bury the Chet Holmgren lead.
No, we can't.
He's averages 18 and 7 right now, Mace. He's right there.
Don't understand. I think he's shooting from 3, right?
And he's playing with Shea. He playing with Giddey. He playing with Dort. So there's more mouths to feed over there.
Mm-hmm.
And he's still getting his. You know what I mean? He's probably a year or two away from telling Shea, this is my team. You get what I'm saying? Just as far as NBA politics and pecking order goes. To me, in another year, we could be looking at a 20 and 10 for Chet. I think he eventually will be a 27 and 12 kind of player, like a Joel Embiid. I think his trajectory is that to be north. I think these guys are going to clash, and they're in the Western Conference. Unless one of them decides when they become free, because we know OKC's going to fumble it. They're not going to pay these guys. They're all going to eventually leave. If he moves to the Eastern Conference, there may be no rivalry. But if they stay in the West, because we know Victor will end up in LA as a Laker eventually, those are the rules. We didn't write them. That's just how it goes. You know what I mean? This is going to be a Western Conference rivalry. I'm excited, and I'll say this. If I'm Wemby's trainer, I'm very shaky about putting on too much pounds on him. I would say usually get in the gym. He needs to stay on the KD line. Like, of course, get more firm, get more muscle, but don't gain too much muscle because, again, he's so tall and he plays a perimeter-oriented game. That Liz Frank injury is real. Guys end up out for the season behind that. And I want to see Victor play at least 65 games every season. I don't want him to get jammed up by injury. Look what happened to Porzingis. Porzingis had a knee, a foot, and he's not the same guy anymore.
Don't get brolic like Giannis. You know,
right?
It's interesting that you mentioned that, Joe, because I paid attention a lot to Wemby before the season, and I remember Brian Windhorst specifically saying that Wemby's team, they're not going to put too much weight on him. That's where, you know, they've been basically, you know, Wemby's been like genetically like disposed to being the best basketball player ever since he was like 12 years old. So they literally have been making him gain like a certain percentage of weight every year of his life for like the past 10 years. They've been working on it. They made a big deal about letting people know, like, nah, he's not trying to be 275 and brolic, you know what I mean? They know his frame, and that's part of the reason that he's never seriously gotten hurt before.
You make Victor sound like Drago from Rocky IV. Like this man has been genetically programmed to be the best basketball player possible. I must break you. You know what I mean?
Guys, you know?
Listen, well, I'm excited. I personally think you have the American, you have the European. I think this is tailor-made to be that next big rivalry with all the conversations about Americans losing their way in the NBA. The foreign players are coming in and dominating. I think this is made for greatness, Mace. And then you hear a lot of American players getting in their feelings about the European game and feeling like it's made the NBA soft. And one of our former players, who's usually outspoken, Gilbert Arenas, says that maybe we need to get the Europeans out of the league. On Gil's Arena, shout out to that podcast, known for their hot takes.
Sir,
you hear this, Mace? Gil saying maybe they need to get him out of here. Is he wilding?
Gil is wilding, man. Gil is wilding. And just like you say, shouts to Gil Arena, shouts to everybody over there. You know, we're at the age where they're the players that we grew up with. So I rock with all of them. McCann, Kenyon, B. Jennings, everybody that rock over there. But listen, especially you, Gil. I bought NBA Live 07, you know what I mean? Gold jersey and all that. That's when it started getting whacked, but I did buy it. You know what I mean? Now, it bugged me out that Gil, you know what I mean, like is acting like the captain of defense when in the biggest playoff moment in his career, he let Damon Jones hit the series clinching shot on him. You know what I mean? Like you let Damon Jones do that, Gil. No disrespect. You know what I mean? Listen, you know, Gil, he's very outspoken on the pod, you know what I mean? But I think he might have taken it a little too far with the get the Euros out of the league, Joe. How you feel, though?
I understand click media. I understand the game. Sometimes Gil says a thing that everyone is thinking out loud. And there's sometimes where I feel like Gil, because he's so aware of the game, that he goes too far. And in this case, he was trying to get the hot take out there, and it did. We're talking about it. But to me, like, you still want to be taken seriously, and this is where he ventured into unseriousness.
Right.
But some of what he said, I can agree with, as far as the finesse aspect of the game that the Europeans have brought in by way of the league adopting the European style of play. But it's something we spoke about on episode 1. If you're going to adopt the European style of play, adopt everything about international play, adopt allowing more physicality into the game. You can't only adopt certain aspects of it, but then you're completely diluting defense. And not to say that there's not elite defensive schematics out there. Hell, when the Lakers won in 2020, say what you want about Frank Vogel, but when we used to blitz teams in the third quarter defensively, lockdown. Right. But you have to have guys who are willing to exert that type of energy, because the way the pace of the league today, what the casual fan doesn't understand is that the game's played so fast. Sometimes these guys are just too damn tired to play offense and defense at a high level. And a lot of times, because defense is harder to play, they conserve their energy and just play offense and hope to outscore you. Back in our day, especially mine more so than yours, you have point guards walking the ball up the floor, dump down into the post. Guys get to their spots, or they run their action. They get to their spots, and then they run their actions. Hell, we grew up watching the triangle. You would dump it down. Like, let's say Kobe bring it up. He'd dump down in the shack, right? Kobe's on the wing. Then you have Robert Ory. What he would do? Cut through the paint, loop back out to the other side. Then you might have Rick Fox might cut back door if they overhelp on Shaq, depending on where the help come from. You got the back door cutter right there. So that was how the game was played. Then the inbounds would come in on the opposite side, and you're walking it back up the other way. These guys are running the entire game. The only way to truly play defense is to allow physicality. It doesn't mean get rid of the Europeans. That means let players put hands back. Bring back the hand check. Let players put hands on hips again on the perimeter. You got a big Luka 6'8", 260. He can handle if a guy puts his hand on his hip or a little more hackety hack on the perimeter. Allow more bumping, a little more banging. Not the 80s with clotheslines and violence, but allow more touching, to happen in the game. If the game is free flowing and you saying this lazy defense to put your hand on, go play ball in the street. Street ball, they run it up and down in 100-degree weather. They're touching each other. There's a lot of forearm action. The forearms in the post, or you throw a little shiv when homie's trying to drive by you. Allow some of that to transpire. Unless something egregious, like you hacking somebody on the arm or something crazy, or you grabbing a player. Let some of the extra stuff go on so that players can have a chance. To me, Gil is tripping, Mace. Just more physicality. As Europeans, to me, have made the game more entertaining. What he's saying is nonsense.
I agree, and it's, of course, you know what I mean? And my whole point is that would Gilbert Arenas be the one to stop Steph Curry or Shea, you know what I mean? Like that wasn't even Gil's game. So to say it's the Euros for when you right there with him, you know what I mean, sounds crazy. I'm sorry. I remember a story Gil tells himself about Kobe chastising him because he wouldn't defend him on the other side. You know what I mean? I'm a Gil fan. I heard the stories. You know what I mean? So it just is you can't say, hey, Euros are the reason for this. You know what I mean? Because I'm old enough to remember when there was, before Gil made his return to the media, when people said, you know, it's players that, you know, that cared more about the money than championships. You know what I mean? Players who kept getting in trouble. And Gilbert Arenas himself was why people were saying the league wasn't what it was supposed to be. So I don't agree with Gil going out of his way to point out these guys to say that's why the league is messed up when, you know, you accusing them of not doing the thing that you didn't do yourself. It doesn't make any sense to me.
And that's why it goes back to he's a personality now. To me, he's not even a former NBA player. He's an online personality playing the online personality game. You know what I mean? Like we pod, we do the rap roundtable, and you know, sometimes people accuse us of being online personalities because we say some things that might seem outlandish, but we really mean what we say. To show you the difference, we're doing Pace to Space right now. We really mean what we say. Gilbert, on the opposite side, is a person that's looking around, or he's listening to what Rashad got to say. He's listening to what Kenyon got to say. He's listening to what B. Jennings got to say. Then he's thinking, what's the crazy thing I could say to bring this whole conversation together and go viral? And he does it. He's mastered the game, right? Oh, yeah. Getting the Europeans out the game. When you look around, Jokic is dominating, Luka's dominating, Wemby's dominating now. These are the top players. You could say, to me, even though Giannis to me is an African dude, he claims Greece, he's dominating. You know what I'm saying? And that's just the top. You got like a Sagan on Hughes who just had a crazy game the other night, dominating. You know what I'm saying? You have players from Europe, so he going the other way to get it lit, get the clicks. And while I'm not mad at it because I'm not a hater, you don't want to dilute the brand also. You know?
That's it.
The casual fan wants rivalries. They want players to play like they can, and they want a decent balance between offense and defense, not guys that's cruising, like traveling and whatnot. You know what I mean? Because to me, James Harden travels. Like some of those things are travels. Giannis travels. Like these things, that's not pure basketball to me. You know what I mean? And you got, to me, like the commissioner got to clean up the game, clean up a little bit of the BS that you allow some more physicality, and the game will be in a sweet spot perfectly. Still get your 120 points a game, but a little physicality. That's all.
And you never want to get into that realm where you're gonna have to walk back your comments, because they're gonna accuse him of xenophobia, and you're gonna look like Kendrick Perkins looked last year trying to say Jokic was getting white MVP votes. Let's be honest here. You know you're gonna eventually have to walk this back, and I don't want us to be the type of people that say things and have to walk them back. You feel me?
Or be, not to say Gil is not bright, but be smart enough in the moment to know how your comments might be received.
Right.
Just don't go out there saying stuff. Like, make sure you're saying something that resonates and it means something. You know what I mean? Not just a take like that, because xenophobia is real. If you're gonna blame the European aspect, come through with some data, run some film, use data and visual to support your point. Not a hot take that sounds like some political commentary that we don't need in the game. But to close out this episode of Pace and Space, you know what we do? We go around the league.
Third.
You know what I mean? This episode, we're gonna venture off though, Mace. We're not gonna start in the league, but adjacent to the league on the college ranks, but on the women's side.
Okay.
She might not have won the championship, but she is the most dominant player this season. As far as the news goes, Angel Reese is still there. Don't get it twisted. But when we talking about the news cycle, the record-breaking performances, the Curry range 3-pointers, Caitlin Clark is the most clickable item in women's basketball today. There was talk about her, going pro after this season, but there was pushback as far as should she go pro? Would it be cost beneficial for her to go pro? Does that make sense? Who knows? Macito, you see that, you hear that argument. What do you have to say about that?
Dominant season, like you said, for Caitlin Clark. She broke Pete Maravich's scoring record. That's a scoring record I've been hearing about since I was a little kid with my dad. And just like you mentioned, Job, she's also one of the more profitable college athletes out with the NIL. College players be compensated. She's, I believe, ranked 4th after Bronny James, Shador Sanders, and Livy Dunn. So she's 4th of all college athletes, worth 3.5 NIL. You know what I mean? So that's why people are asking, like, what's going on with her? Why is she doing it? Because she might make about $80K in her rookie salary in the WNBA.
That's crazy.
Crazy. It's crazy. But we seen, you mentioned the women's game. We seen Sabrina and Steph. That was the highest rated Saturday All-Star event. You know what I mean? And I feel like Caitlin's going to walk right into that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure Nike got a nice deal waiting for her when she get to the league. You know what I mean? And I feel like she's, ushering in, because we talk about that 80K and it's, we could get into that, the profit shares and all of that. But it's like, listen, Caitlin, we got Juju. You mentioned Angel Reese. We got Cameron Brink. You know what I mean? We got the Alyssa girl, the Samoan girl.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, listen, the ladies' game is about to take off. Get on the bandwagon now, y'all, because the ladies' game is about to be a lot more popular than think. She's packing out stadiums already. Caitlin is. Listen,
you got Jake from State Farm is going to the game. Travis Scott at the game. Like, she's viral. You dig what I'm saying? And here's the thing: as media types, we're media. Shout out to Draymond. We're new media. You got to try to veer away from surface level statements or comparisons. Yeah, she's making 3 M's or somewhere in that vicinity with the NIL, right? And yeah, she probably would make less money from her base WNBA contract, but she can't stay in college forever. That means that the NIL, I don't know how it works, Mace, forgive my ignorance. But from my vantage point, if it's a college thing with the NIL, that means that this money is not lifetime. It's per college, no?
Right.
Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat or the comment section. Put me on game, throw me a link or whatever you need to do. But from my vantage point, the NIL is a college-based system that compensates college players, which means that once she graduates, she's no longer NIL worthy. So to say, why should she go to the league? You're getting a lifetime of bread or a short-term investment. And the college game is nasty to where you mess up a knee, right? You're not Caitlin Clark anymore. You're not gonna cash out. You got to get that lifetime guaranteed money that going professional allots you. She's gonna play in Europe because most WNBA players, if I'm not mistaken, they do the WNBA season, and when you don't see them, they not on the socials just posting outfits because they overseas hooping.
Right.
So you're gonna get your overseas bread, and in a lot of cases, when they go to Europe, they get more bread playing in Europe than they do in the WNBA.
Sometimes.
So there you go. So you get multiple streamlines of income. And you mentioned something very important. if Caitlin Clark is this viral as a college player, she's gonna be positioned to be the face of the WNBA alongside. This is their Magic and Bird right here.
Come on.
They're gonna be the marketing pillars of the new era of the WNBA. And if I'm not mistaken, with the new CBA of the WNBA of the NBA, I feel like the floor, the salary floor for the WNBA has risen, so they're not even getting as the bread is not nearly as bad as it was. It needs to be way better, but we understand how economics work, and that you can only cash out WNBA players if they're turning a profit when it comes to the season, putting butts in seats, TV ratings, etc., etc. It's all connected, people. So when you say why they're not getting paid more, it's because it's all connected. The business model has to increase, and it's no accident that there's a super team in New York right now. Because think about it, was I watching the WNBA like that a season before? No. But when the Liberty got to the final against Vegas, who was watching basketball? Me. I was locked in.
WNBA go platinum in this crib. I'm not gonna lie. You gotta find times it's on this strange channel, but I'll be watching. I ain't gonna lie.
So you got a New York team that's cooking up something great. You have a fledgling, a potential dynasty with Las Vegas. I think they went back to back, if I'm not mistaken. You have so let's call it a potential dynasty, a good team in a big market, and a budding rivalry with dynasty and big market team. Now you got Caitlin Clark, the most viral player in college, coming up with her viral injuries, who beat in the championship game. She might be going pro as well. You gotta go pro now because you have to strike while the iron is hot, and the endorsement. Nike gonna cash him out. Of course, digital media is gonna cash him out because now you get to do the little TikToks and the Instagrams where you get these little ads that pop up. You're gonna randomly see Caitlin Clark face all over the place, billboard opportunities, and of course now media opportunities. You don't think there's a Caitlin Clark podcast somewhere in the talk if she chooses to do so? This guy who made that comment is so ridiculous because it's short-sighted. Caitlin's in the long-term game, and as long as her body's protected, she's going to make so much money as a pro. She's going to lead the new era alongside injuries for pros in America for women's basketball, Mace. I'm bloviating. I'm sorry. I'm kicking the ball back to you.
Now you're speaking facts, because one thing you know, Jaw, before we knew anything about the game, we knew Wilt versus Russell, right? We knew Magic versus Bird. We knew Michael versus Isaiah. That's how you sell the game. You know what I mean? Those rivalries, those storylines. So it's like it'd be fly if the WNBA start getting storylines of their own. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna call it right now. If All-Star Weekend survives this year's shamakery, I need a repeat. I need Steph and Clay versus Sabrina and Clayton next year. That's what I need in All-Star Weekend. Come
on now. A two-man, that'll be kind of fire.
Get it.
Or
the Dame, one of them.
Or let's kick it up a notch. You get Steph and Angel Reese versus somebody in Caitlin Clark. Which man wants to take that? Because you know LeBron too Hollywood, he ain't gonna do it.
Right. It should be for the record.
Here you go. Or you get an Ant Edwards, one of the young whippersnappers, you know what I mean? Or Giannis and Angel Reese, or Giannis and Caitlin Clark against Angel Reese and Steph. I'm here for it, you know what I mean?
That'll be dope. Sell again.
First to file, quick two-man. I'm not mad at that.
I'm sure we all would be watching it. That's the thing.
You know what I mean? Pace of space here. We talk about the women's too. We love basketball here, okay? But the last topic around the NBA to get to, we got to talk about the New York Knicks. I ranted about them last week. Some people didn't appreciate it. But basically, I was saying with the Knicks, you always got to pace yourself because the other shoe will fall. Right. Now, they might have dodged one, but in real time, it sure looked like a season ender for Brunson. That knee injury, Jalen, he turned the corner, pulled up for the jumper, grabbed his knee. I thought that was a meniscus. I didn't think it was an ACL, but I was thinking meniscus. The Knicks haven't come out and really said what it was, but they called it a contusion, but a contusion where I'm from is actually a bruise. So I don't know what kind of contusion they're talking about. Maybe they just don't want to hurt the fan base or say what it actually is. But how concerned are we about the Knicks now that Brunson has a knee, Julius is out of the equation still with the shoulder? Is the found money era already over?
You're right. They might be lying how the Lakers used to lie to us about buying them every season. Listen, y'all, we spoke about how we got a bunch of positive feedback from the show. But my boy David T didn't like how we spoke about the Knicks. So David T, Keep watching, but turn down this volume, brother. The Knicks, listen, just like we said, this is fool's gold. I hate to agree with the Celtic. Didn't Paul Pierce call them catfish? You know what I mean? Like, they looking good on the ground and you see them in person, you're like, nah, I'm good. You good. Listen, the injuries are piling up, and not that I'm wishing them, but what we said last week, Tom Thibodeau is going to run you into the ground. You're going to have the best. You might win awards. You might go crazy. He got Luol Deng paid. He got Joakim Noah paid. He got a lot of people paid. But he also ran them to the ground, took years off of their careers because of the way he coaches. The Knicks, man, the Knicks right now, no disrespect. I know they was talking finals last month. They might be lucky to get out the first round this season. You know what I mean?
Wow.
They were Miami first round. They might get cooked. I ain't gonna lie to you, y'all.
And it's like they made the OG Anunoby move. They traded for Bogdanovich. They made these moves because they felt like with the way the Eastern Conference was shaping up, they would have a shot at the 2 seed. They've been fourth for like weeks now, and these injuries are piling up. And you mess around, you fall out of that top 4. Now you don't even have home court in the first round. You could be first round food. But then again, typical Knick fan faction, they'll just say it's injuries. They'll have an excuse. When anybody else says it is not an excuse, but when we say the Knicks this and that, it was injuries. So that's why I was trying to tell you. David T got upset and he was like, it's slander and all of that. It's not slander, brother. Yeah, I mean no harm. I'm just saying that when it comes to the Knicks and Knicks fans at their core being noticed, it's always too good to be true. You're always waiting for something to happen. You're always waiting for the fit to hit the shan, to quote Max Kellerman. You know what I mean? Because you know it's gonna happen. You guys deserve nothing. I don't know what Knicks fans did to whoever they did it to, but every time something great happens, that other shoe falls. It is what it is. And Jalen Brunson had already evaded a major injury before that. He was already, I think he had a hand or something like that happened. Right. So, listen, Knicks fans, stop puffing your chest out. I'm not telling you not to celebrate. I'm just saying the chest puffing, talking about conference finals trips and finals and all of that, chill out. You should be thankful for every day. Literally, every day. Day by day, win by win, until you actually get to the conference finals. Until you actually get to the finals. And we're talking as people who cheers for teams who've done this already. We know what championship teams look like. And for the record, y'all are not that. Y'all are a good story. I won't disrespect you and say you're a catfish, but you're not a championship caliber team, even if you were healthy. And the world is telling you that you should relax yourself by way of these injuries. Humble yourself and just enjoy the individual days as they come to you. I'm sorry, Knicks fans. It's no disrespect. Mesito, before we get up out of here, I got one question for you. We haven't mentioned the Orlando Magic. 13-3 in their last 16 games. Paolo's having he's made the second-year leap. Is this a team? Are we looking at them in the same way that we're looking at Minnesota and OKC, or should we take them a little more seriously come playoff time?
Orlando, they don't strike me. They're a young, exciting team, but they seem about a year, maybe even 2 years away. Not even quite where Memphis was last year or 2 years. You know what I mean? Paolo, listen, I can't stand that dude because you killed me last season with him in fantasy basketball, and I have ever since a beast. You know what I mean? But they're a little far away from me. Even though in the Eastern Conference, you can low key do some damage. You know what I mean? But they don't scare me. They not even scare me. They don't even I don't think they're gonna make too much noise.
All right, we can stop right there. I mean, this is episode 2 of Pace and Space. You know what I mean? We hope y'all enjoyed episode 2 just as much as episode 1. I could say I enjoyed recording episode 2 more than I enjoyed recording episode 1. The energy was even more so turned up for this one than on the last episode. But Mesito, do the thing, bro. Take us home.
Hey, man, that's Darv. On my block, they call him the point guard. I'm your boy Mesito, and this is Pace and Space.